The streets are buzzing, and this time it's wild. 50 Cent just let loose some tapes that got Rick Ross looking like he's about to lose it for real. This ain't no regular rap drama. It's next level chaos. And guess what? These leaked tapes got Ross and Diddy caught up in something real messy. Once you hear what's on those tapes, you'll get why Ross is out here ready to flip the whole game upside down. The way 50 dropped this bomb, straight up legendary madness. And listen, this ain't just random pettiness. 50's been on the slowest, coldest revenge mission in hip-hop history. Way back in 2009, when Ross first took shots with that Officer Ricky clowning.
Man, I ain't gonna lie. I've been holding a lot of shit in lately. Man, I just had like a 3.5 hour cry.
What do I owe the pleasure? What do I owe the pleasure? Last time we been together, we wash your car for you. We wash your car with no shame in our hustle. When you goddamn getting into that wash, and you know that tip gonna be good like y'all better start buying this slippery soap, man. What's going on there?
Folks thought it was just regular rap beef. Nah, this man 50 was plotting the whole time. 50 wasn't just thinking about a diss track. Nah, he had way bigger plans cooking, while Ross was out here thinking he'd already won their little back and forth.
If you ever seen a person getting arrested and the people being arrested in those brothel houses, do they take out the stuff in the brothel houses? No, they don't. They take the individuals who are being arrested out the brothel houses. For them to take 1,000 bottles of baby oil, it's like that they did not leave one. They left people there, but they ain't leave not one bottle. Nobody needed no baby oil. So my whole thing about it is that there was something in that other than baby oil. That's why they took all the bottles. And 9 times out of 10, if I would give it a wild guess, it was, and like some of the people told me, it was probably that GHB.
What's that?
I think it's gamma hydrox. I looked it up, bro. Let me see. See if I can find it. I know this is just showing everything like that, but oh no. Let me. Yo, somebody tap dance or sing or do something, you know what I'm saying, while I'm doing this. Oh, here it go right here. It's gamma hydroxy butyric. What is it effect on the body? It's a euphoria, drowsiness, decreased anxiety, and memory impairment. It works on the nervous system and gives you this feeling of euphoria. So they take that and rubbed it on her, and you forget who you are, what you're doing. It can also give you memory loss, drowsiness, and that's under the DEA, the Drug Enforcement Administration.gov.
50 was moving real slick, quiet like a snake, stacking receipts and locking in the right connects behind the scenes. Every time Ross flexed his Wingstop bag or showed off them whips, 50 was just sitting back, watching, plotting. He didn't even bother clapping back with small jabs no more. He was loading up the real heat. The way 50 set this trap, straight evil genius. He waited until Ross was out here everywhere, promoting his new Checkers franchise, bragging on his next business moves. Ross was on top of the world, acting like he was untouchable. That's exactly when 50 chose to strike.
Bruh, just like New York, just like Mount Vernon, New York City, Mount Vernon, and Miami, all that is the same, bruh. Nobody wants to be near him. Nobody wants to touch what he touched, be where he at. You understand? It's crazy, bro, how his fall from grace, which was never from grace, it's just like the devil just kicked him out of hell, because he was never in nothing graceful and did anything graceful. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what you say about, okay, he did the music, he had the bad boy legacy and everything like that, man. But, you know, a few albums, a few people, you know, made to be famous, but they not here to tell their story. Black Rob, Biggie, Craig Mack. They not here to tell their story, bro. And now you got everybody telling his story.
Yeah, and I know 50, he did a recent interview with US Weekly saying that the reason why rappers are quiet about, Diddy's situation is because they've been to his parties and they don't know what got caught on tape.
Bro, those people who was caught at Diddy party did not know that he had 250 tape recorders in that house. That's a big house.
And if you were paying attention to his Instagram, he basically teased it all week. First, he dropped those slick little messages, talking about how some people out here faking their whole image. Then came that post, tick, 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 like a bomb was about to go off. You could feel it coming, but nobody knew it'd be this explosive. Some folks had no clue what 50 was hinting at. But the streets, oh, they were watching real close. Then out of nowhere, boom.
Doesn't mean I'm confirming or I'm 100% factual, but it's somebody in this story of things that seems more reliable than others, Race, is what I'll say it, just to protect my sources. But this source informed me of who these A-list celebrities are on these tapes that are being allegedly auctioned off online and through the networks. And it's put me in a little bit of a bind because I like to be fully transparent with the audience. I want to say things, but I also realize from what I'm told, because again, I haven't seen them directly yet. I haven't, and I don't know if I want to. Race, I want your advice on that too. But the problem I have is just like, typically I want to report these things, but I got to be careful legally, ethically, morally as to what we report on here. Because as Ariel, the lawyer here, did admit, and I can attest based on the information I got from a separate, reliable source, people in these videos don't know they're being videotaped. That's a big issue, Race, right? Let's start out right there. If there are people on these tapes that don't know that they were being filmed, is that okay to talk about and to share?
I have a big problem with that, as do you, Andy. And you tend to be an ethical guy, and you're taking the high ground here. Notwithstanding the fact that you may have some significant information and reliable information, but the reality is that, look, I mean, if people were recorded non-consensually and you're the one to identify them, I think that's a problem, right? And I think anytime anyone has content, right, this is not an email, this is not a text message, this is video. Right. And there's specific statutes, without using specific language I don't want to get into, but everybody knows what we're talking about here.
It's Diddy with this person. I'll say that. It's Diddy with this person. Actually, yes.
Yeah. And see, the problem is, again, like non-consensually recorded, you've got a victim here who may not want to be publicly identified. That's the problem. That's the problem. And they have a right to proceed if they want to, whether it's criminally or civilly, without being identified, because we know what's going to happen. As soon as they identify themselves, there's going to be a bunch of people that come out of the woodwork who are going to unequivocally harass them and claim that didn't happen, and they're making stuff up. And there's the victims that we want to protect here. And that's significant.
Well, it's interesting because here's why I wanted to have this conversation, because I know a lot of you are like, Andy, just say it. No, I'm not going to say them, but I wanted to have this conversation as to why we're not saying it and why I think others haven't yet said it, raised, because again, legally, ethically, morally, it's just not right. Now there's an argument I've had with people who are like, well, they knew what they were doing with Diddy. Like these were consensual acts. Like they knew, and he filmed other times. So I don't know what the big deal is. It's gonna come out. It's gonna come out is what I keep hearing from other reliable sources. It may come out, but it's not going to come out via me. That's just to warn you all, because I don't think it's wise for us to put out something like you just confirmed it without the consent of the other person in the video. Because again, from what I'm gathering based on some of these tapes, and again, we're still learning more, and I haven't seen them with my own eyes.
On a chill Tuesday afternoon when everybody was just vibing and minding their business, 50 dropped that first tape on the gram. No heads up, no hype, just straight carnage. The move was ice cold. He didn't even bother writing a caption. He let that footage speak loud all on its own. And within minutes, chaos hit the industry like a wrecking ball. People were shook.
Isn't it weird that the government was so interested in Diddy's baby oil that they took 1,000 bottles away from his house? If the government took 1,000 bottles of baby oil and somebody had things what appeared to be baby oil, and then you have to listen to the prosecutor. He said that they seized 1,000 bottles what allegedly to be baby oil. Allegedly to be baby oil. So that's telling people that it wasn't baby oil. And people think that that was baby oil, they out their mind. I don't believe it was baby oil. Yo, bro, when they went up in there, they knew what they was gonna find. They knew what was ever in that baby oil or that those bottles that appeared to be baby oil, they knew about that at first. You gotta realize 9 times out of 10, that individual that got caught at the airport, that was supposed to be their carrier, told them what they was doing and what they had. I wouldn't put him past that he told them everything. So when they went up in there, they knew they had to take whatever was out there, and that thing that appeared to be baby oil, they took that. They got to test every last one of them. Let's see how much, let's see how many of those come back to be baby oil. Bro, listen to me. Costco don't sell that much baby oil. Where you know sell that much baby oil?
Yeah, I don't know any store that sell that much baby oil. I know Costco, they came out and said that they don't even sell baby oil.
My sentiments exactly.
But you personally, right, what do you believe was in the baby oil?
If you ever seen a massage parlor being raided and they walking out the people, do they take the massage oil with them when they go? No, they just walk out the people who are being arrested.
Reactions started flying in instantly. Executives calling last-minute emergency meetings, PR teams losing their minds trying to spin the story, and anyone who'd ever been tied to Ross or Diddy, poof, ghosted. Phones off, socials quiet. This wasn't no regular rap beef or some messy DM leak. This felt different, like career-ending different. This hit different, way different. The level of patience and planning 50 put into this, man had been watching Ross climb for years, just waiting for the perfect moment to drag him down harder than ever before. And the wildest part, Ross didn't even see it coming. Word is, he was chilling in the middle of a business meeting when his phone blew up nonstop.
Activities with other, A-listers having activities together is what this is. And again, that's a potentially outing of somebody as well. You know what I mean? There's so many things here that happen in releasing of this private consensual moment that while salaciously everybody wants to know, and people are messaging me all the time, Andy, who's waiting? And it's like, I'm not gonna say, because there seem to be way too many things that these people in the tapes, whether consensual, whether they, whatever, didn't agree to put out there. And I would think that's a legal issue too for anybody who puts these out first, no?
Yeah, you nailed it. You can't without the consent of the victim. That's the problem. Somebody thinks that somebody has no idea, right? You said, well, didn't they know they're being recorded? No. I mean, in these situations, the assumption is they did not know. And that's what we believe right now is the victims did not know that they were being recorded. If the victim comes out and says, okay, yes, I knew I was recorded, and a statement is provided, that's a different story. But of course, You don't know that. So you, Andy, probably can't be the one to break that ice and be like, well, this is what I heard and this is what I know, and so I'm going to say it. And there's all kinds of hairy legal issues on that, right? With privacy and intrusion on seclusion is what we call it. It's a privacy violation. There could be defamation implications. There could be criminal implications. So you're doing the right thing by treading carefully. And I think more people should do this rather than get into speculation. Now, if you see the videos, even still, right? If somebody takes
not to interrupt, but that's the question. Like, am I allowed to see these videos? Like, if I were to ask this source, show me the videos, do I put myself in worse legal jeopardy?
That's another distinct legal issue, right? It's like you're watching something that someone didn't know they were being recorded of doing, right? And so it's dicey. It's dicey. Now, it would be different if you were an attorney and somebody's coming to you for purposes of defense or prosecution of a claim, a civil claim, or the filing, of some action to recover damages. That's a little different. But for purposes of, hey, look what I got, juicy gossip, and there are reporting outlets that I won't mention that will do stuff like this. I don't know that it's the smartest thing to do. I don't know that it's the careful thing to do. That's for sure. Or it's the ethical or moral thing to do.
Yeah, it is exactly. I'm not a lawyer, but maybe this source will show you, and then you can verify what we know. But here's the other problem. Even if we verify what we know, like as I watched what Ariel, the lawyer, got these tapes, and even again, I don't want to get into the details, any remote details that could help explain or allude to even more of theories that are out there, or debunk or confirm. But I will say, hearing what I heard, which again isn't confirmation, but hearing what I heard, it makes me dislike what Ariel's doing even more, because I think there are going to be people out there, if this information does get out in some way, that are going to deny that these people are victims, that they're going to try to say, oh no, they're just consensually thing and they were hiding this affair and yada, yada, yada. And I don't see it that way personally. I mean, and granted, I haven't seen or know, like this isn't somebody involved from what I've gathered in these tapes of them, doing it to others in a way, criminally, like we've heard in some of these suits. This is just, it almost feels like, again, if it's real, like blackmail material that Diddy keeps to sort of hold over these people's heads. And to me, that's awful to the people in it, whether they agreed or knew or whatever. It still just feels like that's no one's freaking business. And maybe they were doing it for reasons we don't know. Just because we saw it in the tape doesn't mean they weren't feeling pressured in other ways, right? So it's a heavy and complicated thing, but it's not a hard decision to say, I can't run with trying to even allude to who these people are.
His people were trying to get through. His notifications going crazy. Everybody sending him that video. At first, Ross thought it was just another one of 50's little jokes, but then he clicked play. And once he saw what was really out there, game over. That's the moment it all flipped. And here's where it gets even more insane. If you thought that tape was the worst of it, the streets are talking, and they're saying 50's sitting on a vault of these. He's been holding this stuff for years, biding his time like a real-life villain with a script in hand.
But he had 250 tape recorders in that house that they took, that the feds found. So now with them finding all that, and you being at a Diddy party, you know you may have done something that was caught on one of those tapes. You just better pray to God that they don't recognize you. Those people who know that they did something, no, they're not going to speak out. They're not going to say nothing. What part of the game is that? They are not going to come forward and tell on themselves. Nah, not at all. Ice Cube, he said it himself, bro. He said that Diddy's been targeted because of what he said about those folks and those people. Now, the people who was on those tapes may feel like Diddy might be targeting them. Because if he's asked about who is this, who is that, and he's under oath with the federal government, he got to tell them. He's not going to plead the fifth.
Yeah, I know that got to be a terrible feeling, man. You know you did something wrong at Diddy party, and you hoping and praying that it's not caught on tape.
But they don't think they did nothing wrong. That's their lifestyle. That's their lifestyle, bruh. I ask guys all the time, if two men lay down, how many homos get up? What you mean? I mean what I mean. It's what it is.
The way 50 dropped it, like he directed a whole revenge movie and cast Ross as the lead without even telling him. And what Ross didn't realize, that first tape, that was just the intro. Now the whole world want to know, what's next? What else is hiding in 50's vault? If he waited 14 years to drop this first bomb, just imagine what other heat he's been sitting on. Nobody knows how deep this goes.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Like, let's let this play out in the legal realm. If you ever get Ariel on your show, I'd love to talk with her and have this conversation if she's willing to do it publicly, because I still don't understand what her role is in all this. You know, and I've heard at times broker, I've heard at times advocate for victim, and I don't want to judge what she's doing or not doing. I'd love to just have a conversation about it, because I personally don't get it, right? This is a very sensitive thing. Again, if this gets turned over to the feds and the feds bring claims and this is outed, that's a totally different story. But the feds do what they're going to do. Like what we talked about months ago on your show, right? When this first went down, we knew when hard drives were seized and things happened that, look, they're going to build a case. They're going to build a case that they think they can prosecute. It's not for us to speculate what's there or what's not. But to say, you know, you have tangible evidence of something on camera that you've seen and that it's being sold in order to protect someone,
to avoid being publicly named, which is what even the lawyers are now admitting. It all feels really dirty and shady, man.
The only person that makes sense that could buy this is the victim, right? If the victim says, I don't want this to come out. Yes, it was consensual, but I don't want it to come out. I didn't know I was being recorded. Give it to that person.
Right, I guess, but you're right, because then they can actually own it. Maybe there is a version of this, so that's what Ariel's trying to allude to. You'll own it, and no other network's going to be able to buy it or show it if you own it and haven't given permission. I guess, is that maybe part of what they're trying to do here, in that the celebrity who buys it can actually then control it just from a clearance standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, it still raises some legal concerns, right? Because let me say it this way. If this was a transaction, if this is a business transaction wherein the victim is then acquiring the exclusive rights to this tape or tapes, and that the person who recorded it is avowing that they will not use it, I don't know where that leaves P. Diddy and the feds, right? But they have an independent right to bring this stuff to light if it gets prosecuted. But my point is, if you're transferring legal rights of this consensual or non-consensually recorded tape to the victim, I think that's a better position to be in. But then the question is this person even in a position to be able to buy the tape, right? Are they a high-level celebrity? Like, who are they? We can assume that they're celebrities with millions and millions of dollars to expend on something like this. Just raises a lot of questions, right?
And remember all those times Ross swore up and down he never did business with certain people? That's exactly what makes these tapes so explosive. The receipts don't lie. 50 got Ross caught in 4K doing the very things he spent years denying. And the footage, it's not just some harmless clips. We're talking Ross at private parties, looking real cozy with folks he swore he never even met. And it ain't no casual hangouts either. There's audio too. In one clip, Ross is straight up bragging about deals that went down off the radar, all behind closed doors. Deals he's been dodging questions about for years. And the wildest part, he's heard name-dropping Diddy talking like they were setting up special arrangements with new artists, stuff that definitely wasn't meant to go public. The way Ross is talking in those tapes, so calm, like it's just regular convo, got people convinced this wasn't some one-time slip-up. Industry vets who've seen the footage are saying it's the kind of stuff that could get a person blackballed from the music game for good. But what's really making folks nervous? These tapes are linking back to all those old rumors from Ross's early come-up. You know the stories, the ones he's been shutting down for years. But now, these videos are painting a whole new story. Ross is out here looking way too familiar with people he always claimed he had no ties to. And he's talking business moves he swore never even happened. The reactions behind the scenes, straight chaos. One exec, who's trying to keep their name out of it, said watching the footage felt like seeing someone's entire career crumble in real time. And someone from inside Ross's own label, they admitted they had to hold back-to-back emergency meetings because nobody knows how many more bombs 50 still got locked and loaded. This ain't your average rap beef where someone drops a diss track or leaks a few old DMs. Nah, this is on a whole different level. These tapes got Ross and Diddy looking real shady, especially with all the other accusations floating around lately. And the timing couldn't be worse. Ross is out here trying to level up his business empire, and Diddy's already drowning in his own mess. Then boom, these tapes hit the internet like a wrecking ball. What's got Ross really sweating? The fact that these tapes could wreck everything he built. We're talking Wingstop franchises, that big Checkers deal, and all his brand collabs. Once corporate America sees you caught up in a scandal this messy, they start backing away fast. Nobody wants their logo next to chaos. But the real tension, it's knowing that 50 still got more footage in the stash. Every time Ross tries to deny it or play it cool, 50 claps back with another clip, and each one makes Ross look worse than before. It's like 50 had surveillance on him for years, just waiting to launch the takedown. And when word finally got back to Ross about what's really in those tapes, that's when it all got heated. Cause it's one thing to hear rumors, but it's a whole different beast when the proof is staring the world in the face. It's one thing to hear people gossip, but it's a whole different beast when there's video proof of what you've been trying to keep buried. And Ross, the way he reacted, that's when things went from bad to straight up disaster mode. When those notifications hit people's phones at 2 a.m., nobody was ready for what they were about to see. Ross wasn't just angry, he was in full scorched earth mode. Behind the scenes, PR vets were texting each other like, somebody better stop him before he blows up everything. Then boom, Ross dropped his first response on Instagram, and it was pure chaos. A wild 15-minute rant, packed with threats and accusations that had his own team freaking out. He didn't even bother denying what was on the tapes anymore. Instead, he went straight savage, throwing threats at 50 like it was war. You could see it in his eyes, pacing back and forth, looking like he hadn't slept in days. Folks started whispering, yo, did Ross finally snap? And it didn't stop there. Every hour brought more drama. Next thing you know, Ross started sending voice messages to anyone who shared that video, trying to shut it all down by force. Ross was on a full meltdown, threatening lawsuits, throwing out wild accusations, and digging up old dirt that was never supposed to see daylight. His team was scrambling to get control, but Ross wasn't listening to nobody. He jumped on Instagram Live at 3 a.m., naming names, airing out industry secrets, and dropping threats you can't take back. But it went way too far when Ross started leaking addresses, not just spots tied to 50, but even places where his family stayed. That's when people around him started backing away fast. His own crew saw the line get crossed and didn't want to be anywhere near it. His PR team was desperately trying to clean it all up, firing off statements, spinning the story, begging the media to chill. But every time they made progress, Ross would jump right back online and undo it all in seconds. Even his closest business partners were hitting him up, begging him to log off before he torched every connection he ever had. But Ross, he was too deep in it, spiraling and making moves that could ruin everything he built. That's when the desperation really kicked in. Ross's team tried hitting those tapes with copyright claims to get them pulled down, but it was too late. 50 already had them everywhere. Twitter, YouTube, shady forums. It was spreading like wildfire. Ross even started throwing out bags of cash, offering millions to anybody who could help him figure out who leaked that footage to 50. He was tossing around numbers that had people's jaws on the floor, just to find out who'd been recording him all those years. By sunrise, Ross had already violated like 6 different Instagram rules. His account got restricted 3 times. But instead of chilling out, he went full rogue, making burner account after burner account, each one more reckless than the last. His lawyers were blowing up his phone, trying to calm him down. His business partners, they were threatening to pull out of major deals, but Ross wasn't hearing it. He was on a warpath. And then came the final straw. He started dragging other artists into the mess, dropping names, exposing who lost money, who didn't pay up for features, who faked their streams, and even who had secret under-the-table deals. At that point, it was total industry chaos. They didn't want none of this getting public. It felt like watching someone set fire to their own house just to take down the whole block with it. That's when the industry really started splitting into camps. You had folks who'd been waiting for Ross to fall, teaming up with 50, jumping in with their own tea, adding fuel to the fire. Then there were others trying to defend Ross, saying 50 pushed it too far. But the way Ross was acting, man, he was making it nearly impossible for anyone to ride for him. When you start threatening families and exposing everybody's secrets, that's when people start choosing sides real fast. And baby, the way those sides formed shocked everybody. For real. This was that let me see who my real friends are moment. And the truth hit hard. Some of Ross's so-called day ones ghosted him like they never even knew the man. Meanwhile, people you'd never expect were stepping up, standing 10 toes down for him. The divide wasn't just petty, it was personal. And the way these artists chose their lanes had the whole industry in straight up disbelief. When Meek Mill, who came up under Ross's MMG label, started liking all of 50's posts about the situation, that's when it hit people. This wasn't just about loyalty anymore. This was survival. Artists started moving real quiet, unfollowing Ross, yanking collabs off streaming playlists, even canceling studio sessions they had lined up with him. But the real shock, seeing who jumped on 50's side without hesitation, even DJ Khaled, who built his whole brand off We the Best and loyalty vibes, started acting real silent when reporters asked about Ross. He went ghost instead of standing tall like he used to. And folks were watching. Like French Montana, people noticed the energy shift, and fans started questioning who's really riding with Ross now. It felt like the room was getting colder by the minute. Nobody wanted to be caught in the blast zone. And baby, the ones who dipped first, that said everything. Folks started posting cryptic messages about how the streets don't forget. And it didn't take long to see how them Rock Nation deals and Diddy ties had people moving real strategic. Even the new generation started choosing sides. Future low-key stirred the pot when he posted a story bumping 50's Many Men right when all this drama exploded. And everybody knew what that meant. And then Drake, Mr. Stay Out of the Mess himself, even he was watching. That silence said a lot. This whole saga ain't over, and it's only getting wilder. If you've been locked in with the T, make sure to like, subscribe, and drop a comment with whose side you're on, Ross or 50. Don't forget to share this with someone who needs to catch up on the chaos. See you in the next video. It's about to get even messier.